In one scenario, it does. In the scenario where a trans person is able to legally change their gender, is able to change their appearance, and is able to pass, they tend to live a better, happier life because they get to go stealth at that point. All right, guys, let's go ahead and talk about something. We got some good news to get into before we get into anything else, okay? Ironically, there's some good news to come out of Florida. Not because Florida's done better. Lord knows it hasn't. Florida can't do well. But a federal judge decided that Florida needed to be a bit unscrewed. So let's go ahead and see how that manifests. But first, let's get into the fan art section. This one is from Axolotls with Cream. It says, hey you, Axolotls, your Suris. Along with me and Red Joker getting our new Axolotlkin. So apparently I've been axolotled. Ignoring the fact that I've also been Sonic onesied. There's nothing I can do here. You all control my life at this point. I didn't even choose to get into the goddamn onesie. I don't control my life, you do. That's don't ever become a streamer, kids. The next one we have here is from Zhao Miao. Become one with the coin. So, this is the only time I've gotten Netcoin fan art that I actually like. Look at this shit. This is badass. You've done it. You've managed to give me Netcoin art that I enjoy. How did you accomplish that? But also, thank you. Coin gauntlets, that would make a good model. It would make a good model. It's a shame I can't afford this as a model. At all. Channel's not doing too well, everybody. That said, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that all said, let's go ahead and get right into the topic today. A U.S. judge blocked Florida's ban on trans minor care in a narrow ruling, saying that gender identity is real. Eros, thank you for naming your points for an owl. So throw some coins at Suris. You guys don't have to do that. I appreciate it when you do, but you don't have to do that. I love the flabbergasted Ron DeSantis here. Just sitting there, why can't I untrans the kids? Who would win in a full power slime Suris or a single Netcoin? That depends on your definition of win, but let's go ahead and continue. Tallahassee, Florida, a federal judge temporarily blocked portions of a new Florida law championed by Republican Governor Ron DeSantis that bans transgender minors from receiving puberty blockers, saying in a Tuesday ruling that gender identity is real and the state has no rational basis for denying patients treatment. Judge Robert Hinkle issued a preliminary injunction saying that 3 transgender children can continue receiving treatment. The lawsuit challenges the law DeSantis signed shortly before he announced his run for president. Gender identity is real, and the record makes that clear, said Hinkle, adding that even a witness to the state agreed. This is good news. It's not perfect news, but it's good news. Transgender medical care for minors is increasingly under attack. Florida is among 19 states that have enacted laws restricting or banning treatment. But it has been available in the United States for more than a decade and is endorsed by major medical associations. Hinkle's ruling was narrowly focused on the 3 children whose parents brought the suit in. Simone Chris, a lawyer for the Southern Legal Council representing the parents, said she hopes healthcare providers and prosecutors see that the ruling is applying statewide, like when Hinkle issued an injunction in 2014 declaring the state's same-sex marriage ban unconstitutional as it applied to a single couple. The state no longer has any valid interest in enforcing something that is unconstitutional, said Chris. As she spoke, DeSantis' office issued a statement saying the opposite, and the law will be enforced for all except 3 children. This is why I said this is good news, but it is not perfect news. There's more that needs to be done here. Said, we'll continue fighting against rogue elements in the medical establishment that push ideology over evidence, said Press Secretary Jeremy Redfern. Chris said, wow, Jiminy Crickets, I have no words. I'm always saddened by the thing that our state chooses to point out. Guys, we have evidence that trans people exist. We have evidence that trans people are happier and live more full lives when they are allowed to exist as their authentic selves and not the version that the state thinks that they should be. So when a trans woman says that they're a woman, trying to tell them that you know better, no, you don't. I'm sorry. You are not that person. You are not in their brain. They are in their brain. They know better than you do. She said her hope is that, irregardless of DeSantis' position, state attorneys won't prosecute doctors for providing care that is aligned with every major medical organization. Not a rogue few, but all of them. Attention on this new law focuses on language involving minors. The Hinkle's ruling focuses on the use of puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. The ruling does not address other language that makes it difficult or near impossible for adults to receive continued gender-affirming care. Again, this is why I've said some of it's good news, not all of it. It is a step in the right direction. It is not everything that is needed. Protecting the ability for minors to use puberty blockers, protecting the ability for HRT to be used for people under the age of 18 but above the age of 15 and 16, that is still important. That is an important thing to do. It's not fixing the fact that it's getting harder and harder for people to get HRT in Florida. But we're not done with the article. Some Florida parents of transgender children have sought help leaving the state because of this law, including Kim, a Pensacola mother, hey, that's where I grew up, who didn't want her last name used out of fear of her child becoming a political target. The narrow ruling doesn't help Kim or other families who aren't plaintiffs in the case, and she is concerned the legal battle could stretch on for years. In the meantime, her family is fundraising online and job hunting to move to states that haven't passed laws like in Florida. Kim says that they are moral policing. Their claims are baseless, and that's one of the hardest things to swallow. It's based off of Ron DeSantis' personal beliefs. I'm going to challenge that, actually, here in a sec. But first, Cinderone has decided to drop 1,000 points while I'm in Sonic onesie for an Ada, you fucking degen. But I'm going to challenge that. I actually don't know if this is based off of Ron DeSantis' personal beliefs. Ron DeSantis is a politician. Now, granted, what he believes, I don't give a shit about. None of that matters. What matters is what he does. What matters is what he influences. So this is bad regardless. But to say that this is based off of his personal beliefs, I don't know that. What I do know is that the GOP's current stance is one of transgenocide. And because the GOP's current stance is one of transgenocide, then it makes sense that this is the hill he would die on, so to speak. It doesn't make it right, it doesn't make it good, but it is the one that they have chosen for themselves. I also realize this monitor needs to be shrunken in a little bit. And then this needs to be... There we go. That's fixed. He's an absolute marionette. Yeah, no, but here's the thing. Whether he's a marionette, whether he's a puppet, or whether he's himself speaking from the bottom of his deep, dark heart, in either case, the result is the same. He is harming people. Trans people are people, so he is harming people. Irrespective of your opinion on his personal beliefs or if this is the correct thing to do for him to gain his nominations, what matters is real people are the collateral damage. They are the chess pieces he is playing with, and the end result is pain, suffering, and suicides. Henkel, who was appointed by former President Bill Clinton, said people who mistakenly believe gender identity is a choice also tend to disprove all things transgender and so oppose medical care that disapprove of all things transgender and so oppose medical care that supports a person's transgender existence. Banning treatment for minors ignores the risks patients might face. Research suggests that transgender youth and adults are prone to stress, depression, and suicidal thoughts, and the evidence is mixed on whether treatment with hormones or surgery resolves those issues. Actually, it's not. Actually, when we have done research into this, we have found that the primary factor in those suicidal ideation tendencies are social. It is a combination of social pressure and social stigma that is causing that. As with a lot of suicidal ideation, why do you think men have high rates of suicidal ideation? Because societal pressure on us is really, really fucking bonkers and bad. Now, does hormone and surgery and all of that resolve those issues? In one scenario, it does. In the scenario where a trans person is able to legally change their gender, is able to change their appearance, and is able to pass, they tend to live a better, happier life because they get to go stealth at that point. There are 2 ways a transgender person gets to go stealth. 3 sometimes. The sometimes is if they get to a point of androgyny. That point of androgyny, though, sometimes can backfire depending on where you are and what flavor of androgyny you have gone for. But the other 2 scenarios are when they stay in the closet or when they pass for modern-day society. In those scenarios, trans people tend to be physically safer when they are out. However, in this scenario here, and the one where they stay in the closet, the rate of suicidal ideation goes up still because now they are, not all the time, but oftentimes battling with dysphoria. Because they are battling with that, the fact that they are being supported by society around them doesn't matter as much. Because the society around them that doesn't know they're trans and therefore is supporting them because they look like they've got those privileges there, the battle is now internal. You're choosing your battle of internal or external. This means also that people who start transition and are a year in, 2 years in, 3 years in, sometimes are pre-surgery, top or bottom, and sometimes are on low dosages of HRT because their doctors are being assholes. Sometimes people in those categories can't get to a state of passing and find themselves in a very uncomfortable androgyny. There's a lot of scenarios in which society at large makes shit bad for you, either by forcing your struggles to be internal or causing you to have external strife because they see you as an other. In all of these scenarios, the answer is pretty clear. Normalize being trans at every level of being trans so that no matter what area, no matter what state someone is in transition, if they are transitioning, they will be accepted. That's how you get those suicide rates lower. Also, thank you for the hydrate, Americhick. So, real question, is there a way to mitigate or fight dysphoria when transitioning is not an option? There are some ways. You can do vocal training. That's something that you can do at any stage. You can change your physical appearance via clothes. That's something you can do at any stage. You can change your name, and you can have people refer to you by different pronouns. That can help a lot as well. There's a lot of things you can do. It's not enough for a lot of people, but they can help. And some help is better than none. It doesn't mean you should accept that, though. If transitioning is not an option, maybe you should ask yourself, why is that not an option? Even ahead of contemplating medical treatment, experts agree allowing children to express their gender in a way that matches their identity is beneficial, such as letting children assign male at birth, wear clothing or hairstyles usually associated with girls, if that is their wish. There are risks attendant to not using those treatments, including the risk, in some instances, the near certainty of anxiety and depression and even suicidal ideation. The challenge statute ignores the benefits that many patients realize from these treatments and the substantial risk posed by foregoing those treatments. He also noted that hormone treatments and puberty blockers are often used to treat non-transgender children for other conditions, so the law makes their use legal for some, but not for others. The 3 children in the lawsuit will suffer irreplaceable harm if they cannot begin puberty blockers. The treatment will affect the patients themselves and nobody else, and will cause the defendants no harm, said Hinkle. So, that's where that is right now. It's a mixed bag out of Florida. It's not the worst news. At least there are some kids who are going to be able to maintain their current treatment. But there's still a lot more work that needs to be done. We need to make it to where transgender care for adults is more normalized, it is more easily attained, and in a lot of cases, we need to make sure that it is able to be paid for not just by insurance agencies, but also by the federal government. If you don't believe that, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can help you. I'm the kind of guy that thinks that medical care should be, you know, tax funded. But I finished my little art style collage. Woo, nice, nice stuff. That said, though, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I would like your opinions on this. It's a mixed bag out of Florida. There's going to be a mixed bag in the comment section. So let's see where we get. As always, everybody, thank you for watching. Hit the like button if you haven't already, and insert end video tagline here.